Welcome to NeoUnrealist. I haven't watched an NFL football game in 2 years. Anyone who knows me personally would tell you that that was a radical change for me, as I probably watched every New York Giants game of this century up until the 2017 season when I stopped watching. Why did I stop watching football completely, cold turkey, after so many years of fanatical devotion? I mean, it was the shit with the kneeling. It was one thing when it was just Colin Kaepernick and a couple knuckleheads, but it was the gutless lack of a response to it from the NFL that pissed me off. I mean, this happened before Trump started talking about it. I didn't make a big deal or announce to the world that I wasn't watching pro football anymore, but people that knew me, they did notice it, and they'd ask me, why the sudden change? And I'd answer, and usually when I explained it in full, most people, even if they didn't agree, it was something that would end their watching football. I mean, they just wanted to see the football. A lot of them did seem to understand the reasoning. I just felt that I didn't want to watch a league where, you had a bunch of players that were, starting to make a grandstanding political statements that are anti-cop and in many cases anti-American. Free country and all that. I mean, I guess, but what I couldn't do was watch a sports league that the league itself, from the ownership on down, seemed to be increasingly condoning and then eventually enabling that anti-cop and anti-American message. I mean, what they were doing was almost tacitly endorsing these clowns and more or less shitting on the U.S. flag and the anthem. Now, the way my New York Giants have gone down the toilet the past 2 seasons, I probably saved myself a lot of agita, and I discovered a lot more free time for doing other things on Sundays than I'd ever had before. But this bigoted, hateful article in the Daily Beast, though, it pissed me off so much that I actually joined with others to watch the Super Bowl and root for Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. And as a Giants fan, let me tell you, the 2 greatest moments that I can recall came against Brady and the Patriots, Super Bowl 42 and Super Bowl 46, where, this is Brady and the Patriots, at the height of their dynasty when my beloved Giants beat them for to win the Super Bowls. Now, Brady and the Patriots, as you can imagine, they were the enemy. The team that if my team made the Super Bowl, during that run, and if they made the Super Bowl any given year, the Patriots were the team that they were likely going to have to face. So I, like many Giants fans, came to dislike them in that, in that superficial way that you dislike a rival sports team. It's not serious. You don't really hate them. You don't want them dead. It's just a desire that they lose their games. Anyway, but this article by the Daily Beast was so bad that it made me suddenly become a New England Patriots fan, if only for one night. Now, the only other time this ever happens is when the Patriots play the New York Jets, or maybe the Dallas Cowboys, I guess, who any self-respecting Giants fan detests. So this article, it was that bad. First, the writer, this guy's name is Corbin Smith, and he writes that Brady held a rally for New England's, quote, sweatiest fans at Gillette Stadium. Now, he's upset that Brady led the fans in a chant of, we're still here, we're still here, saying that it's obviously referring to his quote. This is what he calls them, aging, decrepit, cheating-ass squads progression to the big game. Well, I mean, they can't be that aging and decrepit. They just won the Super Bowl. I mean, granted, it wasn't the most exciting game in the world, but what's this guy's problem? I mean, the Patriots, they didn't win it on a lark. They obviously deserved the championship. Then he says it was like watching a square-jawed grifter, this is Brady he's describing, throw red meat to the attendees of an alt-right rally, screaming at the libs who thought Nancy Pelosi and her gender warriors were going to keep decent American folks from being here. As someone on the right who does keep an eye on the goings-on of the alt-right in general, I could say, they're actually not big on rallies. To the extent that they do have real-world get-togethers, I'm pretty sure Nancy Pelosi is not a big topic of conversation among them. I mean, these fellas, they don't tend to get too focused on the everyday politics of Democrat versus Republican. They view the political system itself as their enemy. I mean, I don't think they give a crap who holds the gavel in the House of Representatives. They view both political parties as antithetical to their futures. You know, that many of them do like Trump is a result of his own personal attributes and brand, his willingness to broach the topic of immigration in a way no major politician has in living memory. It doesn't translate to, support for the Republican Party in general. But I won't say more on that. I don't speak for the alt-right, and there's other channels that you can go to that are far more qualified to tell you what's going on there. The bottom line is, this Corbin Smith basically just called John Q. Public, normie Patriot fan, racists and misogynists. He goes on to say that Brady is a grifter because he owns a red MAGA hat, which he claims is an accoutrement, pardon the French, that's gaining more and more traction as a symbol of white nationalism. I mean, sure, in the deluded minds of the far left, and in places like New York, Washington, D.C., and San Francisco, maybe, but in the 85% of the continental U.S. landmass that isn't governed year in and year out, decade after decade by far-left Democrat government, it's just a hat with a common campaign slogan abbreviation on it. The same slogan used by, Ronald Reagan in the 80s, Bill Clinton in the 90s, George W. Bush. I guess they're all white nationalists too. But then this Corbin Smith guy, he really ramps it up. I mean, he goes next level. Like the God of Abraham in the book of Genesis in the Hebrew Bible, he declares the city of Boston, its sports teams from root to stem, to be the new Sodom or new Gomorrah, I guess. As Yahweh passed his judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah, those wicked cities, so does Smith heap a curse upon Beantown, saying that because the guy who owned the Red Sox until he died in the freaking 1970s, it's believed by many that Yorkie, that he was a bigot, which may be true, but let's say for argument's sake that it is. So what? Because a guy who owned a baseball team 45 years ago was too slow to integrate black players onto his team, we should hate the New England Patriots, a different team playing in a completely different sport today? That's crazy talk. Then he brings up, he brings up Larry Bird, the NBA All-Star who played most of his career in the 80s. Happens to be white, if you don't follow the sport. Somehow, because a bigoted fictional character was a fan of Larry Bird in an old Spike Lee movie, Do the Right Thing, which came out in 1989, we have to hate Tom Brady and the New England Patriots of a different sport 30 years later in 2019. Did Corbin Smith even watch Do the Right Thing? Because if he took out of it Bird being a symbol of white resentment, I don't know what crack he's smoking. If anything, it's the black characters in the movie who resent Larry Bird for having the audacity to be a Hall of Fame level basketball player while being white. I mean, they nearly jump a white guy in the movie for the sin of just moving into their neighborhood and daring to wear a Boston Celtics Larry Bird jersey. It's the black characters exhibiting the racism toward the white interloper trying to intimidate him into leaving their neighborhood and giving him guff over wearing the Celtics gear. Can you imagine a situation where the reverse would be tolerated? A group of young white males accosting and surrounding a black man who just moved into a white neighborhood and attempt to intimidate him to leave? Is this the same movie where Spike Lee's character, Mookie, the lead of the film, holds up the Nation of Islam's Louis Farrakhan as a black leader and icon beyond reproach or criticism? The same Minister Farrakhan who calls white people devils, Jews termites, and preaches a religion that's main tenet is that black Americans are descended from aliens, not illegal aliens from Africa, no, aliens from outer space, and that white people are a race of devils created by the biblical prophet Jacob on the Greek island of Patmos via a 600-year eugenics program to kill off dark-skinned babies and elevate the lightest-skinned babies of each generation. The same Louis Farrakhan who explicitly says whites are inferior to blacks and desires the creation of a separate black ethno-state. Let's not go using Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing as a basis for justifying bigotry against another race, or else I'm sure we can glean from it things I'm sure Corbin Smith would not like at all. But oh wait, another one of those dastardly white Boston Celtics from the 1980s, Kevin McHale, was once spotted at a Trump rally. Ipso facto, the Patriots and any team from Boston are the team of white nationalism. Smith goes on to heap more scorn on the city of Boston itself because Dave Portnoy, the guy who founded Barstool Sports, a site he decries as a toxic masculinity humping post for the world's worst people. Boy, I gotta check this site out because Dave Portnoy is a Boston sports fan. Just a whole bunch of meaningless anecdotes to paint Boston as this unique bastion of racist sports fans. What a nut. Willie Mays, for those who don't know, some people claim he may be the greatest baseball player who ever played the game. The guy had trouble even buying a house when the New York Giants moved to San Francisco in 1958 because he was black. Shall we now forever hate the San Francisco 49ers in 2019 because in 1958, Willie Mays' first offer to buy a house over on Miraloma Drive in San Francisco was rejected because he was black? I think San Francisco is racist because of an anecdote from 61 years ago. Yeah, that makes sense, right? I mean, then he brings in, I don't know where this comes from, but he brings up Nicholas Sandmann, the 16-year-old teen from Covington High School. Covington High School in Kentucky, to justify his irrational hatred of the New England Patriots and the city of Boston. He doesn't even refer to young Sandmann by name. He calls him, get this, that scumbag teen, busted to D.C. by his racist-ass private school to protest a woman's right to choose, smirking at a Native American military veteran, smirk crime again, while wearing that dumb little red hat as his schoolmates stood around and did tomahawk chops. Oh, scumbag teen. Racist-ass school. The editor of the Daily Beast signed off on this. I mean, he signed off on him finishing up by writing that Nicholas Sandmann seems like a low-boil sociopath. What? I mean, there's just so much more after this. If I keep going, this video is going to be an hour long. Just read it for yourself. You will have to conclude that Corbin Smith is either batshit crazy or that his mind has been seized by far left-wing ideology. This guy's The Walking Dead, an NPC. Use whatever the hell metaphor you want. Seriously, you got to stage an intervention for the guy. I mean, he's so far out to sea, I don't think he can even see land anymore. And God forbid there's any layoffs at the Daily Beast. If you tell this guy to learn to code, he's going to lose it. That's all for this NeoUnrealist. Like the video, comment below, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell if you want to keep up with the new content. The YouTube shenanigans, they're unreal. If you want to go above and beyond, toss a few shekels or drachmas at the channel. There's still a Patreon link for now, but if you're still there, but PayPal link works, of course. There's also the tip pledge button at the bottom of the player if you watch on BitChute. We're not up on Subscribestar yet. Their message says they're swamped with requests for new accounts. Could take a while. Most important though, to those of you who managed to stick it out through this whole video and you're still hearing this, thanks for watching.